The ship drifted in silence above a grey, lifeless world. No oceans shimmered below. No clouds danced across its surface. Only cracked continents, silent seas of dust, and the bones of a forgotten age. They called the planet Erith. However, the old records named it something else. Earth. For Captain Varin, it was little more than a graveyard. "Initiate the sweep," he ordered quietly, his scaled fingers tapping the console. His voice was calm, but his tail twitched. A sign of tension the crew knew well. The Zerath, his kind, had searched 100 systems for traces of the lost ones. A mythical species, known only through scattered data fragments. Broken transmissions and half-burned relics. The ancient archives called them humans. "Scan complete," said Lieutenant Sora, her golden eyes fixed on the holographic map. No life signs. "Just ruins and static—" Wait, she froze. "Something's moving, low frequency, beneath the crust." Varin turned. "Moving?" "Not movement," she corrected, narrowing her eyes. "It's a signal." A pulse echoed softly through the speakers. Thump, 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 like the rhythm of a heartbeat. It was faint, buried under layers of interference, but unmistakable. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. "Triangulate," Varin said. Coordinates flared on the map. A scarred city near the equator, half buried in ash and stone. The skyline was broken, towers leaning like ancient bones. "Captain," said Engineer Krav, his frills trembling, "no vessel has landed on Earth in 3 millennia. The surface is unstable, radiation pockets everywhere." "It's a wasteland." Varin stared at the hollow world below. "And yet something still breathes down there." The heartbeat pulsed again. Louder this time, closer. He turned to the crew. "Prepare descent," no one argued. Curiosity outweighed fear. Always had. Their landing craft broke through the thin, dusty atmosphere. Flames licked the hull as it pierced the veil of grey clouds. Beneath them stretched a wasteland. Endless plains of cracked stone, rivers turned to canyons, and cities drowned in centuries of silence. Atmosphere. Thin, but breathable, Sora reported. No electromagnetic activity, except the signal. They touched down on what once might have been a plaza, now buried under layers of ash. The ruins around them stood like tombstones, shattered towers, rusted metal, crumbling glass. When the hatch opened, a gust of cold, dry wind swept inside, carrying the scent of dust and decay. They stepped out, boots crunching on the brittle ground. All around, strange metal structures rose from the earth, twisted monuments etched with alien symbols. "Are those letters?" Krav asked, brushing off the ash. Sora adjusted her visor. Translating now. The symbols glowed softly as the visor's AI decoded them. Freedom, hope, sacrifice. The words hung heavy in the air. They were not warnings nor prayers, but promises. Varin felt something stir deep in his chest, an unease he couldn't name. "Who builds monuments to words?" he whispered. "Humans did," said Sora. "According to the old archives, they gave meaning to things no other species could explain." A sharp beep cut through the silence. The signal spiked. The ground trembled. "Captain!" Krav shouted. "It's coming from below us." The heartbeat quickened. Thump, 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 pounding through their chests like the pulse of something alive. Then the earth cracked open. A blinding blue light burst from beneath the plaza, throwing the crew to the ground. Dust filled the air and shards of stone flew like shrapnel. Varin shielded his eyes as a towering column of light rose from the fissure. Inside the glow, shapes shifted. Fragments of images, flickers of movement, shadows of faces. "By the stars," Sora whispered. "What is that?" A voice broke through the static, deep and steady, echoing across their translators. "If you have found this, then you are not ready." The crew froze. The light condensed, forming a silhouette, broad shoulders, armor lined with glowing veins of energy. A figure stepped forward, half man, half phantom, his eyes burning blue. A human. He stood within the column, gaze fixed on them as though seeing through time itself. Varin's breath caught. "Impossible." The figure's expression was unreadable, calm but sorrowful. "You search for answers," he said, voice layered with static. "But truth demands understanding. Do you know what you awaken?" No one spoke. The ground still vibrated, a low hum beneath their feet. Ancient machines stirred in the deep, gears grinding after centuries of silence. "We left more than ruins," the figure continued. "We left a warning," Sora swallowed. "Who are you?" The figure tilted his head slightly, as though recognizing the question, a question older than their species. "I am what remains," he said, "the last guardian of this world, the keeper of the echo." The wind howled through the ruins, carrying a whisper of voices, laughter, song, the faint echo of a world long dead. Varin stepped forward, his claws scraping ash. "We are explorers," he said, "seekers of knowledge. We mean no harm." The figure's eyes glowed brighter. "Meaning no harm," he said softly, "has never saved a world." The air grew colder. The crew's breath turned to mist. Beneath their feet, faint lines of blue light began to spread, tracing patterns across the plaza like veins of fire. "You walk the bones of giants," the voice said, "and giants do not rest easily." Varin's heart pounded. "What do you want from us?" The figure looked skyward, where the stars were hidden behind a veil of dust. "Not what I want," he said. "What you are ready to face." Then, with a flash of light, the ground stilled. The column collapsed inward, leaving only the figure, solid now. Standing before them in full armor, visor raised, eyes burning with a light not of this world, the Zerath crew stepped back in awe. A human stood before them, and he was awake. The human stood in silence, framed by swirling ash and pale light. His armor was old, battle-scarred, faded, yet the glow from his eyes burned steady, alive with something ancient and knowing. Captain Varin could feel his crew behind him, tense, frightened, but unable to look away. The ruins around them were silent again, save for the faint hum of the signal pulsing beneath the earth. Varin took a cautious step forward. "Who are you?" The figure turned, his movement smooth but heavy, as if time itself pressed against him. "Major Elias Ward," he said, voice calm but resonant, echoing through their translators. "Guardian of the human archive, last watcher of Earth." Sora's frills tightened. "You're alive." Ward's expression didn't change. "Alive is not the word. I am preserved. A construct. A memory of the one who stood here when your stars were still dark." The aliens stared at him, struggling to comprehend. "Records say humanity destroyed itself," Krav muttered. "Warfire extinction." Ward's eyes flashed. "Records lie. Or perhaps they were written by those who never understood." The wind stirred the ash, lifting it like ghosts around them. Ward looked down at the cracked ground. "Humanity did not fall. We chose to vanish," Varin frowned. "Chose? Why would any species abandon its home?" Ward's gaze lifted, scanning the distant horizon where the ruins stretched into grey fog. "Because we saw what waited beyond. The wars of gods and tyrants. The hunger of empires. The galaxy devours those who cannot rise above themselves." He stepped closer. "We built weapons that could unmake suns. We forged alliances, shattered tyrants. But the greater threat was never outside us. It was inside, and our arrogance, our fear." He paused, and for a moment the glow in his eyes dimmed, as though weighed down by memory. "So we did what others would not. We left the battlefield. We became more than flesh." Sora's brow furrowed. "You ascended." Ward nodded once. "In time we learned the truth of matter and mind. Humanity is not the body nor the world that holds it. We became thought, light, purpose, beyond form. Beyond war." Krav shook his head slowly. "That's impossible." Ward turned toward him, and for the first time there was the faintest hint of a smile. "So said we once." Varin's tail flicked in uncertainty. "If your kind ascended, why leave guardians? Why remain here?" "Because knowledge without guidance becomes danger," Ward replied. "We left echoes to warn those who would follow our path, to test them, to see if they were ready." His tone darkened. "But few who came here sought wisdom. Most came for power, to steal our secrets." The ground beneath them rumbled faintly, as if remembering. "You are not the first," Ward said. "You are only the first to survive the gate." Sora hesitated. "We didn't come to steal. The coalition is dying. Worlds fall, old alliances crumble. We thought maybe the lost ones left something that could save us." Ward's eyes narrowed, as if reading her soul. "Save you from what?" "From ourselves," Varin said quietly. "From extinction." Ward was silent for a long moment. The heartbeat signal pulsed again, slow, steady, echoing through the air. "You have come seeking salvation," Ward said at last. "But salvation is not given. It is earned." He extended a hand. The ground split open, revealing a spiral staircase descending into darkness. Blue lights flickered along its edge, forming symbols no alien had seen before. "Below lies the archive," Ward said. "The memory of our kind. The last testament of humanity." Varin glanced at his crew. None moved. "You must prove you are worthy," Ward continued. "Show that you understand what we became. Not the power we held, but the reason we let it go." "What happens if we fail?" Krav asked. Ward's eyes blazed brighter. "Then this world returns to silence." The wind blew cold across the ruins. Above them, the stars flickered faintly through the ash-filled sky. Varin took a breath. The darkness inside the vault was total, heavy and alive as if the air itself remembered. The only light came from faint lines pulsing along the floor, forming paths of soft blue that branched out like veins through the ancient stone. Captain Varin and his crew followed silently, guided by the rhythm beneath their feet. The heartbeat signal, steady, patient, ancient, echoed through the chambers. Behind them, the sealed door loomed like a tomb. There was no way back. Major Elias Ward walked ahead, his holographic form casting a pale glow against the walls. "This place is not meant for the unready," he said, voice calm yet filled with warning. "Each step forward will show you what we were. And what you might yet become." Sora shivered. "Feels like we're walking inside a memory." Ward turned slightly, his blue eyes gleaming. "You are." They reached a circular hall carved into the rock. In its center stood a pool of still water, black as glass, ringed by symbols none of their translators could read. Varin peered down. His reflection rippled and then changed. He saw not himself, but a human face staring back, eyes filled with fire and sorrow. He staggered back. "What?" Ward's voice echoed. "To understand us, you must walk through our past." Light burst from the pool, and before they could react, the world shifted. Suddenly, they were standing in the midst of a vast city, shining towers, roaring skies, billions of humans rushing through streets filled with life. The air hummed with energy, hope, and something deeper, will. Sora spun around. "We're inside their world." Ward's voice came from nowhere and everywhere. "Observe." They watched as the vision changed. Skies darkened, flames erupted, ships rose from oceans like titans. War swept across continents. Humans fought not for conquest but for survival. Explosions shook the ground. The Zerath crew flinched as shockwaves tore through the city. Then silence, smoke, broken towers. Varin saw a group of humans digging through rubble, pulling strangers from debris. Enemies, allies, it didn't matter. Bloodied, exhausted, they lifted one another from ruin. Why help them? Krav whispered. "They're beaten. Their city is gone." Ward's voice was softer now, because to be human is to see beyond the self, to fight for others, even when all seems lost. The vision shifted again. This time the humans stood beneath strange skies, alien worlds, unknown suns. They reached out to other species, shared knowledge, built alliances. Zora's eyes widened. They were explorers. "Like us," Ward's tone grew distant. "We sought to unite what fear had divided. But unity demands sacrifice. The city dissolved. The crew found themselves back in the dark hall, hearts racing. The pool faded to black again. Ward stood at its edge, watching them quietly. "What did you learn?" he asked. Varin exhaled. "That they endured. Even when everything burned," Ward nodded. "And why did they endure?" No one answered. "Because we believed life, nor life, and was worth defending," Ward said, "even when it was not ours. That belief became our strength, and our curse." He turned and motioned toward a corridor. "The next chamber awaits." They followed through tunnels lit by flickering blue sigils. The air was thicker now, humming with static. Somewhere deep below, machinery stirred. Old systems awakening after centuries of silence. At last they entered a massive chamber filled with towering pillars of glass. Inside each pillar shimmered shapes, faces, bodies, symbols, frozen mid-motion, like memories trapped in crystal. "What are these?" Sora whispered. Ward's expression was solemn. "The echoes, fragments of those who came before. They guard the path to truth." As he spoke, one of the pillars cracked with light. A figure emerged, metallic, humanoid, its body a lattice of shifting patterns. Its eyes glowed red. It spoke with a voice that shook the walls. "Identify purpose." Varin straightened. "Exploration, knowledge, understanding." "Unworthy," said the Guardian. The crew froze. Knowledge without wisdom is hunger. Understanding without empathy is vanity. You come to take, not to give. More lights flared as additional guardians flickered to life, encircling them. Krav raised his scanner. "They're machines!" Ward lifted a hand. "They are judges, echoes of our ancient code. Answer them truthfully or be cast out." The central guardian stepped closer, red light washing over them. "Name one human virtue your kind upholds." Silence. Baron's mind raced. His people valued strength, honor, cunning. But these were instincts, not ideals. Zora whispered, "Compassion. We help our own." "Your own," the guardian repeated. "Would you help the stranger?" Zora faltered. "Then you do not yet understand." The hum grew louder. The floor vibrated. Energy crackled around them. Ward's voice cut through the noise. "Captain, remember what you saw, the rubble, the hands reaching out." Varen's heart pounded. He stepped forward. "We may not know your ways, but we learn. We saw what you were, and we want to be more. To build, not destroy. To protect, not conquer." The red light dimmed slightly. The guardians paused. "Spoken with uncertainty," said the voice, "but not with deceit." The hum faded. The light softened. The lead guardian turned to Ward. "The test continues." Then they vanished, leaving the crew trembling in the quiet. Ward studied Varen. "Courage to admit weakness is the first mark of strength. Few who enter here survive that question." Varen exhaled, shoulders heavy. "What's next?" Ward turned toward a massive door at the chamber's end. Its surface shimmered with countless faces, human, alien, unknown. "The deepest memory," he said. "The truth buried beneath the heart of Earth." As the door began to open, a rush of cold wind swept through the hall. The heartbeat below thundered once, twice, then quickened. Something vast was awakening in the dark, and the trial was far from over. The door opened with a roar that echoed through the ancient vaults. Cold air rushed out, carrying dust and whispers of forgotten voices. Beyond the threshold stretched a massive chamber, circular and filled with rows of towering machines. Silent, silver giants standing in eternal vigilance. Lines of blue light pulsed along the floor, converging at a central dais. Upon it rested a sphere, black as night, floating above a pedestal of glass. Captain Varen felt the hum beneath his claws, the deep rhythmic vibration of something alive, ancient. Patient, waiting, Major Elias Ward stepped forward. "The core of judgment," he said quietly. "It remembers all who enter. It weighs intent, not words." Krav's frills quivered. "We already passed the test, didn't we?" Ward shook his head. "That was the door. This is the key." As they approached, the air grew heavy, pressing down on their chests. The hum deepened, resonating inside their bones. Suddenly the sphere flared, brilliant white light bursting outward. The crew shielded their eyes as the chamber filled with a chorus of voices, layered and mechanical. "Intruders detected. Evaluation begins." Machines around the room stirred, heads turning, eyes igniting in red. Massive guardians, shaped like armored humans, stepped off their pedestals, their footsteps like thunder. Varen drew his plasma sidearm on instinct. "Hold position!" Ward raised a hand. "Weapons will doom you. This is not a battle you can win." The voice filled the chamber again, cold and resonant. "I seek knowledge of the lost ones. Declare your purpose." Varen stepped forward. "We came seeking truth and help. Our worlds fall to chaos. We need to learn what you knew. Truth demands sacrifice. Help demands worth." The machines began to circle them, red light flickering across the walls. Sora's voice shook. "If we fail, what happens?" Ward's hologram flickered. "Then the archive will erase you." The hum turned into a low growl. Energy surged through the floor, the heartbeat signal accelerating. The largest machine stepped forward, towering twice their height, and raised an arm crackling with energy. "Test of intent. Defend without destruction. Protect without power," Krav shouted. "How do we fight that without weapons?" Ward's gaze fixed on Varen. "This is not a trial of strength, Captain. It is one of choice." The Guardian's arm came down, slamming the floor. Shockwaves knocked the crew off their feet. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Varen pushed himself up, coughing through the dust. One of his crew, a young scout named Rena, lay pinned under fallen debris. Another Guardian loomed above, charging a plasma lance. Instinct screamed for him to fire. His claws twitched toward his weapon, but then the memory. The vision from the trial. Humans lifting strangers from rubble. bleeding but unbroken. To be human is to fight for others. Varin dropped his weapon and rushed toward Rena, throwing himself between her and the lance. The blast struck his shoulder, sending pain searing through his scales, but he stayed standing, shielding her with his body. The Guardian froze, the humming stopped. One by one, the machines lowered their arms. The red glow in their eyes softened to blue. "Action recorded," said the voice. "Self-preservation overruled by compassion." Ward's expression softened, a flicker of pride. "Intent verified," the Corps declared. "Access granted." The central sphere descended, its glow dimming to a gentle shimmer. Energy surged through the floor, tracing ancient sigils that formed a massive ring around the dais. Slowly the ground split open, revealing a staircase spiraling into darkness below. The hum of the machines faded. The Guardians returned to their places, motionless once more. Sora hurried to Varin's side. "You're hurt," he winced, brushing her off. "It's nothing." "We've come too far," Ward nodded. "The Archive accepts your intent. The final chamber awaits, the memory of what humanity became." Krav's voice trembled. The crystal's light grew fierce, filling the chamber with waves of gold that rippled across the walls like sunlight through water. The hum became a roar, deep and powerful, shaking dust from the ceiling and stirring the air into a rising storm. Captain Varin shielded his eyes. "What's happening?" Major Elias Ward stood before the crystal, his form flickering as energy surged through him. "The return beacon has been awakened. Every ancient relay, every echo we left across the void, they are waking." Sora's eyes widened. "You mean—" "This signal is going beyond this world." Ward turned, his expression grave. "Beyond this galaxy. It is a call. One humanity prepared before we ascended. A summons across the stars in case the children we left behind lost their way," Krav hissed softly. "Children? You mean us?" Ward nodded. "Not just your kind. Many species carry our imprint. The Zerath, the Thal, the Serin, all seeded with fragments of human DNA scattered across newborn worlds. You are all part of our legacy." Varin felt his throat tighten. "Then humanity made us? Guided you?" Ward corrected. "Shaped your beginnings, but not your choices. You were meant to rise free of our shadow. But your wars, your greed, your divisions echo our own. The cycle returns." The hum deepened into a single resonant tone that vibrated through their bones. Blue lines ignited across the floor, connecting to the crystal, then rising upward like glowing veins through the air. Sora checked her scanner. "Captain, we're transmitting across every known frequency. Entire sectors will detect this." Varin's frills stiffened. "And if they come?" Ward's gaze turned skyward, beyond the stone ceiling. "They will not come for you. They will come for us." A flash of light erupted above the crystal, forming a vast holographic star map, spiraling arms dotted with golden beacons. One by one, they flared to life across the galaxy, ancient human outposts rising from slumber. Gasps filled the chamber. Krav pointed. "That's the Draxis system, we charted it as empty." "And there," Sora whispered, "a signal on the edge of the void." Ward's voice was solemn. "These are the seeds, strongholds of knowledge, cradles of light, humanity's gift and our burden." The lights pulsed in unison, and a shockwave burst outward, racing across the map. For a heartbeat, every star flared white, then silence. The hum faded, leaving only the echoes of their breathing. Varin stepped forward, staring up at the map. "What happens now?" Ward's expression darkened. "Now the galaxy remembers." Far above, in the dead skies of Earth, a ripple of energy expanded like a great ring. Dust clouds scattered. Broken satellites sparked to life, their ancient systems humming once more. Across distant worlds, derelict stations blinked awake. In the frozen rings of Thalos Prime, a beacon lit the void. Deep beneath the seas of Vereen, a monolith glowed for the first time in 3 millennia. Everywhere, ancient voices whispered in forgotten tongues. And every race that had ever wondered what became of the lost ones now knew. Back in the chamber, the Zerath crew stood in stunned silence. Krav broke it first. "You brought them back." Ward's eyes gleamed brighter. "We never left. We waited, unseen, unheard, until the galaxy could bear the truth." Sora's voice shook. "Then the stories, the myths." "They were all real." Ward inclined his head. "Truth hides in myth. It is remembered in fear, reborn in wonder. Varin took a step closer. If you've returned, what will you do? Ward met his gaze. Nothing, the captain frowned. Nothing? Ward turned toward the crystal, its glow now pulsing like a steady heartbeat. Our time as shepherds is done. We will not lead again. We will only watch. Guide if you ask. Judge if you stray, Sora whispered. Judge? Ward's voice deepened. Power without understanding destroyed us once. It must not happen again. The beacon is not just a signal. It is a mirror, showing the truth of those who wake it. Varin's mind raced. And what truth do you see in us? For a long moment, Ward said nothing. Then quietly, hope, buried beneath fear, potential, chained by pride. You have fire, Captain, but no compass. That is what you must find. The crystal pulsed again, and Ward turned back to them. Your world stands at the edge of a storm. When others learn of the beacon, they will come. To steal, to conquer, to silence. What you do next will decide what rises from the ashes. Krav swallowed. Can we stop them? Ward's gaze softened. Not with weapons. With unity. The same unity that gave birth to your kind. The ground trembled. Cracks of light spread along the walls, racing upward. The chamber began to shake. Sora shouted, Captain! Energy surge! It's destabilizing! Ward spread his hands. The archive has served its purpose. You have seen and you have spoken. Now you must carry the truth. Varin's voice rose over the rumble. Wait, what if we fail? What if the galaxy isn't ready? Ward's eyes met his, burning bright, calm, unyielding. Then history will remember. And try again. The light consumed everything. The hum became a roar, then a whisper, then silence. When the glare faded, the crew found themselves standing in the plaza once more, the ruined city silent beneath a pale sky. The vault was gone. The monuments glowed faintly, words shining through the dust. Freedom, hope, sacrifice. Sora's scanner blinked. Captain, look. Above the clouds, stars shimmered, rearranging into the shape of an open hand. Glowing faintly across the heavens, Varin stared upward, awe and fear mingling in his chest. They're watching, Ward's voice whispered through the air. Then it faded, leaving only the heartbeat, steady and strong, echoing through the bones of a reborn world. The heartbeat signal echoed across the galaxy, a low pulse of energy threading through space like a whisper from the dead. For the Zerath crew aboard their orbiting vessel, the Zarkun, it had been 3 standard rotations since the awakening. The crystal chamber was gone, the city silent, yet the light in the sky, the hand of stars, and still burned above the clouds of Earth. Captain Varin stood before the observation window, watching the ancient planet turn slowly beneath them. The weight of what they had seen pressed heavy on his mind. Humanity, the lost ones, had not vanished. They had transformed. Behind him, Sora worked furiously at her console, her eyes flicking between screens. The signal's reach is wider than we thought, Captain. We're detecting responses from dozens of systems. Thal ships, Saren fleets, even the Dominion outposts. Everyone's seen it. Varin's frills stiffened. And their reactions? Sora hesitated. Mixed. Some are sending probes. Others are gathering fleets. The Dominion. They're mobilizing warships. Krav entered the bridge, his scales dull with unease. The High Council's transmitting orders. They demand we quarantine Earth and secure whatever remains of the signal. Varin turned sharply. Quarantine? This world is sacred ground now. Krav bared his fangs. To us, perhaps, but to them it's a threat, a relic too powerful to trust. You know how the Council fears what it cannot control. The captain clenched his jaw. They didn't see what we saw. They didn't hear his voice. Sora's fingers paused over her console. Captain, incoming transmission, in unmarked origin. The main screen flickered. Static swirled, then resolved into a familiar figure. The glowing outline of Major Elias Ward, the ancient human soldier. His form wavered like a candle flame, eyes still lit with the soft blue of the crystal. Captain Varin, Ward's voice came, calm and steady. The storm begins. Varin straightened. We've seen fleets move. They fear you, as they should, Ward replied. Fear drives the unready. The signal tests not your courage, but your wisdom. Every race that answers it will reveal its truth. Sora leaned forward. What truth will they reveal? Ward's gaze shifted toward her. Some will seek knowledge. Others, conquest. The galaxy stands on a blade's edge. What rises next will be decided not by power but by choice, Krav hissed softly. And if they choose war? Ward's expression darkened. Then they will face the consequence of waking what they do not understand. The lights on the bridge flickered. Alarms blared. Sora shouted, "Multiple warp signatures! 3 ships entering orbit!" Varin snapped into command. "Identify. Third reconnaissance fleet, armed and advancing. They're scanning the surface." The captain's claws dug into the rail. "They're going after the ruins." Krav moved toward the weapons console. "If they land, they'll destroy what's left. We can't let them." Ward's image flickered. "Violence breeds echoes, Captain. Remember what you saw?" Varin gritted his teeth. "Then guide us." "What do we do?" The hologram leaned closer, voice soft but urgent. "Protect the truth, not with blades, but with unity. Call them, all of them. Speak the word that binds." Sora's eyes widened. "The word?" Ward's glow dimmed, his form fading. "You saw it written. In the dust." The screen went dark. For a moment, only the hum of the engines filled the silence. Then Sora's voice broke it. "Freedom, hope, sacrifice." Varin turned to her. "Can you transmit it across all channels?" Sora nodded. "A wideband pulse repeating in sequence. Every ship within range will hear." Krav's frills twitched. "Captain, the Thal fleet's charging weapons." "Do it!" Varin barked. Sora hit the command. A deep tone rolled through the ship, followed by a rhythmic series of pulses. 3 words encoded in light and sound, ancient and powerful. The transmission burst outward, rippling through space like a heartbeat reborn. Across the stars, ships paused. Engines faltered. Crews turned to listen. The message spoke not in language but in meaning. A call older than fear, echoing in every mind: freedom, hope, sacrifice. The Thal warships halted mid-descent. The fleets hung over Earth like a crown of fire. Hundreds of ships from rival empires, scavenger bands and outlaw fleets, all drawn by the signal, all waiting, all armed. For the first time in 3 millennia, the galaxy stood together above the birthplace of the Lost Ones. On the bridge of the Zarkun, Captain Varin felt the weight of history pressing on his chest. His crew worked in silence, every movement sharp, every breath held. The pulse still echoed through space, soft but steady, a heartbeat no weapon could silence. Sora's hands trembled over her console. "Captain, every ship is broadcasting the same return signal." They're repeating the words back: freedom, hope, sacrifice. "Even the Dominion." Krav gave a low hiss. "The Dominion does nothing for free. This unity will not last." Varin's frills twitched. He knew Krav was right. The galaxy had gathered, yes, but it was a gathering on the edge of a knife. One spark of fear, one move of greed, and it would all collapse into fire. "Open a channel," Varin said at last. The screens lit with faces and forms from across the stars, the crystalline Sirin with their glass-like bodies, the broad-shouldered Thal, the shadowed figures of the Dominion, and countless others. Each species stared in silence, waiting for someone to speak first. Varin stepped forward, his voice steady but low. "You have all heard the call. You know now what we did not, that we are not alone. We are the children of the Lost Ones. Their blood runs through us. Their hope lies with us." Murmurs echoed through the comnet. Some ships sent bursts of agreement. Others remained cold, unreadable. A Dominion warlord's voice cut through the silence, harsh and sharp. "If this is true, then the power of the Lost Ones belongs to the Dominion. Earth shall be ours. The beacon is a weapon, and we will wield it." The fleets rippled with unease. Weapon systems flickered back online. The Unity trembled. Sora's voice cracked. "Captain." But before Varin could speak, the stars themselves flared. A light brighter than suns blazed across the heavens. It formed no ship, no fleet, but a figure vast and unshaken, descending from the constellation hand above Earth. It was Major Elias Ward, no longer a wavering hologram, but a towering presence of light, his armor gleaming with the fire of ancient suns. His voice shook the void itself. "The beacon is not a weapon. It is a test. And you, as all of you, have been weighed." Gasps and shouts filled the comms. Some ships powered weapons, others fled. But none could look away. Ward's glowing eyes swept across the gathered fleets. "We seeded you with our essence, not to rule, but to hope. We gave you freedom, not chains. We gave you sacrifice, not greed. "And now you must choose," the Dominion warlord snarled. "We will not bow to ghosts." His ship's cannons lit, firing a barrage of plasma at Earth. The blasts never landed. Ward raised his hand, and the energy dissolved into sparks, harmless against the night. His voice cut like thunder. "Those who seek conquest will find only ruin. Those who seek unity will inherit the stars." A silence fell so deep it seemed to consume the galaxy itself. On the Zarkun, Varin's heart pounded. This was the choice. This was the moment. He opened the channel once more, his voice strong. "Ward speaks truth. We all carry their blood. We all carry their mistakes. But we also carry their hope. The question is not who controls the beacon. The question is, will we destroy each other as they once did, or will we rise where they fell?" Zora added, her voice steady now. "Humanity didn't vanish. It became us. And now we must decide if we deserve that gift." The fleets wavered. Some captains lowered their weapons. Others still hesitated. Ward's figure blazed brighter, filling every mind with his final words. "If you carry freedom, defend it. If you hold hope, share it. If you know sacrifice, live it. The beacon is not the end. It is the beginning." The light spread outward, racing across every ship, every world, every mind. Images flashed in their hearts of humans long ago standing against the dark, falling yet rising again. The message was not power. It was memory. A reminder of what it meant to be more than flesh, more than fear. When the light faded, Ward was gone. The constellation hand above Earth dimmed, dissolving into the quiet stars. The heartbeat pulsed one final time, then stilled. On the bridge of the Zarkun, silence lingered. Then slowly voices filled the comnet. A Siren envoy spoke of alliance. A Thal captain pledged his ships for peace. Even the Dominion, silent and smoldering, did not fire again. Varin let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. "It begins," he whispered. Zora turned to him. "What begins, Captain?" He looked at the planet below. Broken, scarred, but not dead. A cradle of something greater. "The age of the children," Varin said. "The lost ones gave us the stars. Now we must decide what to do with them." The fleets drifted in silence, no longer enemies, no longer strangers. Just inheritors of a legacy too vast to deny, and far beyond the rim of the galaxy. In the cold between galaxies, other signals stirred, faint, patient, waiting. Humanity had not only seeded the stars, it had left doors. Doors that were now beginning to open. The storm had not ended. It had only just begun. The peace above Earth was fragile. Fleets still circled in silence. Uneasy allies bound by a single promise. But peace built on revelation was never meant to last. 3 cycles after the beacon's awakening, Captain Varin stood once again on the bridge of the Zarkun, staring into the darkness beyond the Sol system. His eyes were fixed not on the stars, but on what hid between them. Zora approached quietly, holding a datapad. "Reports from the outer relays, Captain. Something's moving in the void, beyond mapped space." Varin took the pad, scanning the images. They showed distortions in the cosmic web, gravity ripples bending starlight, shadows where no matter existed. Krav leaned over his shoulder. "Looks like cloaked fleets. Dominion, perhaps." Zora shook her head. "No transponders, no life signs, just movement, like something's crawling through the dark." A chill passed through the bridge. The Dominion, broken by the beacon's light, had withdrawn into their territories. "None dared return here, not yet," Varin frowned. "Patch into the galactic relay. Let's see if other sectors have reported similar." The lights flickered. A low hum filled the air, faint but familiar. Zora's eyes widened. "That sound, the heartbeat," Varin whispered. It was different this time, slower, deeper, a pulse that carried weight, like a drumbeat of something ancient waking in its sleep. Krav checked his console. "Captain, this signal isn't from Earth. It's coming from beyond the rim, the dead zone between galaxies." Varin's frills stiffened. "Impossible. Nothing survives in the void." "Something does," Zora murmured. "And it's calling." The hum grew louder. The ship's systems began to sync to its rhythm. Lights flashing in time, monitors flickering with cascading code. Strange symbols appeared across the screens, neither Zerath nor human. Zora traced the patterns, her voice tight. "Captain, these aren't coordinates. They're commands." Varin's eyes narrowed. "Commands for what?" Before anyone could answer, a voice filled the bridge. low, echoing, layered with tones no creature could make. The seeds have spoken. The makers must return. The crew froze. Krav gripped his weapon. That's not Ward's voice. Sora shook her head. No, it's something else. Something older. The ship trembled as the stars outside bent, twisting into a spiral. A vortex formed. A wound in space, pulling light and dust inward. From its center, something began to emerge. Varen gritted his teeth. Evasive thrusters, full burn. The Zarkun lurched, engines roaring, but the vortex dragged at them like a tide. Pieces of debris, old satellites, fragments of rock, were pulled into the spiral, vanishing into blinding light. Sora's voice broke through the alarms. Captain! The signal. It's stabilizing the rift. Something's coming through. The bridge went dark. Then to light. A massive shape unfolded from the vortex, smooth, silent, metallic, but older than any known design. Its hull bore symbols that matched the ones on the Zarkun's screens. Krav's voice was barely a whisper. That's not human, Sora scanned it. No life forms. No heat signatures. But it's alive. The whole structure is pulsing with energy. The alien vessel drifted closer. Across its hull, lines of light formed a single phrase, translated automatically by the ship's systems. The architects return. Varen stared, his heart pounding. Architects? Sora swallowed. Could they be the ones who made the humans? Now came a voice, and soft, clear human. The crew turned. A hologram shimmered in the air. The face of Major Elias Ward, eyes dim, voice strained. They are not our makers, he said. They are what came before. Varen stepped forward. What are they? Ward's form flickered. The ones who shaped the first life. The ones who built the engines of creation. We were their children once, but we turned against them, sealed them beyond the stars. We thought them gone, Krav's voice rose. And now they've found us again. Ward's gaze darkened. The architects are not merciful. They judge by design. Where they walk, freedom fades. The crew exchanged fearful glances. Sora whispered, Why now? Why return? Because you woke the beacon, Ward said softly. And the beacon was their signal too. The vortex behind the alien ship flared brighter. Across the galaxy, new rifts began to open. Reports streaming through every channel. Fleets panicking, worlds trembling. Varen stared at the massive vessel outside, feeling the pull of destinies and doom. So we freed them, he said. By waking the light, we woke the shadows too. Ward's voice faded, his form dissolving into static.